A very warm welcome, Mr. Agarwal. Amit Agarwal is the Group CFO of Raymond Limited. It's a pleasure to have you on our show today, Mr. Agarwal. How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm fine, thank you.
So today we want to understand about what is happening in the retail space, and particularly post-pandemic, when we're seeing a resumption or a resurgence in a retail demand. And before I get into all else, I want to understand the position of Raymond Limited right now, because we understand that exports are growing and considering the domestic market lockdown. So my first question to you would be, Sam, along the lines of how Raymond is positioning itself in international markets when you have other international established players too. So that would be my first question.
So look, Raymond is very widely known in the domestic market as well as in the international market. So, first of all, we have a very large presence in the international market through our export of the garments. We have the dedicated units in Bangalore, which do a business to the tune of more than 800 crores. And of that, 80 to 85% of that product goes to the marquee markets, be it Europe or Americas. And the brands, if you talk about, we have got the tailored brands, JCPenney's, Macy's, all the big major players are taking our products. And our products retail somewhere in the range of $400 to $1,000+. So it is a very high quality woolen, which we have an exclusivity, so to speak, in terms of the quality of the product, of the fabric, as well as the tailoring. Even we had extended ourselves also in terms of a made to measure. So that means if a customer walks into a store in New York, in a Macy's, he can get his measurements, and based on that, the stitching will be done at our Bangalore company, a manufacturing facility, which will be eventually shipped out to the customer. So he can also get the privilege of having a made to measure, a customized suit. Now, if I talk about our fabrics, even in the fabrics, both in the suitings as well as shirtings, we are exporting to more than 30 odd countries. And we have a very good presence both in the matured markets as well as some of the maturing markets. We tend to be the largest manufacturer of the woolen fabric globally. So to that extent, we have got a significant niche. And our products, if you talk about an Indian rupee basis, our products starts from a range of 300 rupee a meter to all the way up to 3 lakh of rupee a meter. So the customers have all the choices which the exporters or the importers in those countries like. Now, if I talk about our other businesses, which some of you may be aware, is the engineering and the auto business. In terms of the auto business, which we have a business of ring gears, we export 2/3 of our products. So it is a very substantial, and to the players like BMWs and Chryslers of the world, we are exporting to such players. And in terms of our engineering, the files business, almost 50-50 is an exports. And in the recent past, when the domestic market, which you rightly pointed out, was down, especially if I take the second wave, in the first quarter of this fiscal, we have seen a significant push, especially on our engineering and auto business, that whatever was a domestic shortfall, we could eventually meet all that through exporting. So we have a very good market base in terms of having the product and the customer confidence in all the global markets. Right. So all in all, we look at it, it is quite a promising thing for us, and we have been balancing it quite well. Right. And overall, if I look at it, almost 1/5 of our total revenue comes out of the export markets.
Right. So I also remember the Q1 results pointed out very good numbers for auto and engineering, like you had particularly mentioned. Right now, I would also like to talk about some of the trends before we move on to that in retail in particular. Now, we've understood that every crisis sort of changes consumer behavior, changes consumer habits. And this time we've understood that retail is the way forward, e-retail, is the way forward. And everything is going to be quick commerce, coming in 45 minutes or less for us. So in such a time, how do you, how is Raymond repurposing it or refashioning to meet this new wave of customers who are very much reliant on e-purchasing and quick commerce?
Sure. So before I get there, this pandemic obviously has changed the way people think and do the shopping. Right. Now, in terms of the Western markets, after the big vaccination drive, there is a significant resurgence of the demand. And when I talk about a resurgence of the demand, it is not primarily led on the e-commerce, it is also people coming to the brick and mortar store. And before I get into, we have played a lot into the e-com market, but before that, I'll tell you, shopping for Raymond as a group, as a philosophy, we believe that customer or the consumer enjoys it shopping as an experience. So it is not just you go and pick up a fabric or an apparel, it is something beyond. You want to make a large purchase, and we play very big into wedding seasons. And especially for the men's grooming, it cannot happen. And we are big in India, and weddings are very big in India. It cannot happen that weddings happen and the Raymond product is not purchased. It is just not impossible. So now what happens when you're doing a wedding purchase, what you tend to do is you just don't want to do it online. You would like, along with your family members, come, touch, feel, make sure you drape yourself to see whether it fits well, it looks well on you. So there's a lot of things which you cannot replace with an e-com. If there is a brick and mortar, is going to be there. However, now when we come and talk about our presence, 2 or 3 things which is very important. We have rolled out a plan which is called a phygital or an omni-channel. Now, when we talk about an okay, sure. So when we talk about an omni-channel, the way we want to deliver the product. So let's say you walk into our store and you like a particular t-shirt, which you may have a liking for a color A, and the color is different available. With our network across the country, wherever that particular color closest is possible, we can that color get available to you. So you have checked your size, you have checked your how it looks on you and fitting, and we can arrange that very quickly. So this is something where you are getting an experience by which you are willing to purchase. Maybe the color is not available, but that can be made available. Even in an e-commerce, when you are buying something, you are getting it in 2 days, 3 days. And that is all what we have been able to achieve. Here, you are getting an added advantage that you can touch and feel, make yourself the fit, gives you all. That is one advantage. Second thing, if I look at our marquee brands, be it the Park Avenue, Raymond Ready to Wear, Color Plus, over the years, the brand loyalty is phenomenal. We enjoy a CRM, customer relationship management, of close to 9 million members. So people who have been our loyal customers, they know exactly how it fits. So for them, we have also launched myraymond.com, where it is a lot of flexibility. People can come and shop and get it directly. On top of it, what we are also working on, and this is, as the affluence grows, people would like to do a lot of customization. Now, what we believe is in that customization, our stores which are made to measure, there you are able to give your measurements, and rest everything will be delivered to you at your home and sitting at the home. Similarly, what we did was we introduced new program like concierge service. So what happened during the pandemic, you were not able to travel or come to a store because the store was closed, but you had a requirement. So what we did, our dealer franchisee network, which is really wide, what happens, we have got 600 cities, our stores exist. So with that, people would from those stores would travel to such people who are really looking for buying or shopping for their weddings and such things. And along with a tailor, so you could get that service sitting at home, and he would bring, let's say, 20, 30, 40 different fabrics, so that you had the ease of getting it at your home and not stepping out of your home. So overall, if I look at it, with the presence of omni-channel, with your brick and mortar, with concierge services, you have been able to do just reaching it out to the customer, and without compromising, which is very important, the touch and feel, as well as creating shopping as an experience. I think all of us sitting at home, not doing everything you can't do just by watching on or doing on Zoom or Teams. It is also important to have some social interaction, and you start living a life.
Yeah, I suppose the digital Zoom fatigue is setting in for all of us. It has been there for quite long. But you have been touching on some important points that I wanted to address. Spoken to us about phygital stores, the how future of retail is going to go towards. And you also said particularly about international markets, where I want to divert my next question in terms of trends that could come from international markets to our country. We've understood that post-vaccination, a sort of revenge shopping has been on the rise in particularly the US and the UK markets. We see that people want to go to a luxury purchasing more because they feel like they've been cheated out of that experience so far. Do you think that such a trend could happen in a country like India, and are we facing one such?
Absolutely. And we at Raymond believe very, very strongly. You see, if I look at it, I'll give you certain statistics which will demonstrate how revenge shopping happens. If I look at the first half of last fiscal, our revenue, and the second half of our excuse me, second half of the last fiscal, our revenues grew 3x.
Okay.
Second, if I look at it in the month of June, second half of June, after the second wave, when the some restrictions were there, but still shops started to open, people started to come, and the footfalls, we have seen a phenomenal increase in the footfalls, and the ticket size, which is used to be there in the range of 3,300 rupees per person, has gone up to 42 to 4,300 rupees. So you will see a shopping increase. Second thing, we should also understand a large number of people, obviously there has been challenges in the income levels of the certain people, but a large number of people have not suffered so badly in terms of the income, who are typically our customer base. Now, such people, they would go out and spend a lot of money on a holiday, which has not been there. They would go out for movies, shopping, and different kind of experiences. Now, there is a huge amount of savings which is accumulated with them, and everybody wants to go out and spend some money. It is not also to say continue to save, save, save. There's also a question of I need to enjoy some of the savings. And that is where the shopping is happening. Second thing, if you look at it, in our whole collections, we have brought some very unique collections, which is just not trending towards the office wear. Maybe people have a conception that Raymond is just a formal wear. If you see some of our lines which we have brought, it is absolutely in terms of the formal, casual, as well as something which you can wear at different points of time. It is not just related to office wear. If you see our wedding collection which we have brought, it is not just the formal Western suit, it is also in different ethnic wear. So all those things are helping us in order to get the customers. And overall, the sentiment has changed. After the vaccination, people start believing, yes, you have an ability to come out. Now, in certain states, there were restrictions. Slowly, those restrictions are coming out. Now, in terms of big ticket, what people want to do is come out, shop, and enjoy that moment.
Right. Right. So
it's an outing for the people.
I guess all of us are really hoping for that too, to get out of our four walls and go out. And it's been 18 long months of this digital work from home reality. So now I would like to focus a little more on what it was for you as the CFO of Raymond Limited at this time, as you joined in July 2020, particularly the time when things was in lockdown. So firstly, most CFOs that we've spoken to have told us about how cash is king, and that has been the biggest affirmation this pandemic time. So, talking about liquidity management and spend management strategies, what were some of the things that were impacted? How did you refocus, realign, and what do you think going forward is going to change?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. In uncertain times, unpredictable times, cash continues to be the important priority. And look at Raymond. We took few initiatives around this. Number one, we saw when our stores are not there, the sales are not happening. There's no way I can sell to a dealer because his stock is already full and he doesn't have an ability to take more. So what was important for us to revisit the entire cost, the entire cost structure, we took it on a zero base and said, we need to start afresh. And a company like ours, who has been built over a 96 years, which is a long history, has seen so many ups and downs. globally and in India, pre-independence, post-independence, brings us a rich experience. However, with that, you tend to have certain costs which could have been avoided. So we went out and did a rejig of the cost, and compared to fiscal 20, if you see, we have been able to cut down in fiscal 21 almost 40% of the cost. From a 2,400 crore OPEX cost, we brought it down to 1,500 crores. And of this 1,900 crore cost savings, based on all the reorganizations and everything we have done, we believe almost 300 cost reduction is a sustainable one. So this is something which we can sustain even when the normal business comes back. Now, in terms of doing this, what we did was, so there was used to be, because in a textile business, you have to bring your collections, which needs to be told to your dealers. So we used to call physically people into our Thane premise and show that. Now we moved everything to digital. Everything went to digital. So nobody turned up and the bookings happened. And everything was electronically done. So there are a lot of cost savings was done. Second thing, what happens when you have a pan-India organization, a pan-India company, what you do is you create a lot of regional offices, sub-offices and such things. We took out many of the offices. And when we are having over 1,000 stores of the TRS and the 400 stores of EBOs, we took very harsh reality and said certain stores which did not make money, we need to take them out. So we cut those things. So there are many more things. Advertisements. We used to give a lot of advertisements, which we said we will move digitally. Because there is people, India as a country is becoming so digital savvy. Everybody is on their handheld devices. So there is a good possibility you can move. So there are enough and more things which we have done in terms of cost rationalization. And it is going to be a continued effort. It is not that we are done once, done, dusted. It is going to be a continued effort. Then coming to the liquidity, two or three things. Working capital, again, in a textile business is a large working capital business. Because if you want to go and shop to a store, you don't want only 5 different fabrics. You want to see 500 different fabrics to see so that you can pick it up. So effectively what happens, there is a lot of stock available at the stores. Now, because of that, you will have a large working capital requirement. However, with our sharp focus and dealing with the customers, we have been able to reduce during the year, last year, more than 700 crores of working capital, which enabled release of cash. So overall, we have been able to reduce the debt in a pandemic year without an equity raise. We were able to reduce the debt by 450 crores and continue to maintain the liquidity levels of over 600 crores during the period. Okay. Then we also thought, which you rightly said, that how do you see that whole cash flow and such things? What we also did was, in terms of the debt structure, we had a debt which was primarily skewed towards a short-term debt. So almost 80% of our debt was short-term and 20% was long-term. During the last year, we did various refinancings and clearly reversed the order. And now we are sitting with 80% long-term debt and 20% short-term debt. And especially in a pandemic time where you have a lot of uncertainties, you need to have a long-dated debt, which is ranging from a 3-year to 10-year period, and not just doing a 6 months or a 12 months. So that all helped us in order to improve the liquidity position, make us stronger. But we have a stark visual on the cost as well as the working capital. We manage it very, very efficiently, but without compromising any of the business. So for example, in the past, we used to bring in our apparel business 2 seasons collection. Now we have moved to a 4-season collection. So that way you are getting newer product into the marketplace. You are not seeing that it is an older product which you saw in summer. Like you want to go to a store, you want to see every month or second month, you want to see a newer product displayed on the store. So that helps a customer to go and pick up. So that has been, again, a very important philosophy for us in terms of improvising the business, as well as maintaining healthy liquidity and cash flows. And cost, if you see, we also focused in rejigging our product mix, geography mix. So certain product mix rejig, like we play big into the wool segment. Now we went out in the export markets, which was doing well, let's say in this quarter, then we pushed more product, which is more an export oriented product or a wool oriented product into the export market.
Right. Right. So I want to take this question forward. You had said about cost rationalizations and knowing, structuring your debt in such a way so that you have more liquidity. So now thinking forward in terms of investments, would it be in the, the phygital stores that are going to come about? Would it be in the concierge service, like you said, or before you had spoken about engineering and auto parts? So where is the investment heading, the future investments at Raymond Limited?
So look, as a Raymond is a conglomerate, which has got lifestyle as a business, reality is a business, which I need to talk about. It's a newer business for us, doing very, very well. Engineering business, FMCG business. So this is a conglomerate of businesses. Now, if I look at it, in terms of the large capex cycle, we are done with the capex cycle. We have got large manufacturing facilities for woolen fabrics, as well as for the shirting fabric. So we have in total 5 different plants for the suitings and shirtings, which we have done with the capex, most modern mills, because we pride ourselves in having the highest technology in terms of providing the best quality product to the customer. Now, in terms of the next big capex, we don't have a very large capex cycle. However, 2 or 3 things which we have shied away maybe in the past is on the investment on the digital side, on the IT side. So we are embarking on a big program whereby you are going to spend a significant amount of money in terms of digital as well as on the IT. So we will implement most advanced CRM management, because if you have got a very advanced CRM management, your ability to know the likings, what do you like as a customer? We can give you targeted, we have enabled machine learning, which will target to you, okay, this is your liking, this is the way your history of purchases has been, so that we can do a proper, right kind of an offer to you. Somebody different may have a very different liking. Similarly, that is one we are doing. Second thing, in terms of the business efficiencies, by integrating a lot of businesses together over an IT system, we are going to get a lot of synergy benefits. So that is another big piece. As far as our engineering and auto business is concerned, we are doing, okay, these are not very large capex requirement, but we are enhancing the capacity, because in these 2 businesses, we have seen, we have exceeded the pre-COVID levels, both in the domestic market as well as in the export market. Now, let me talk about the reality business. We have got this large piece of land in Thane of 120 acres, which we monetized 20 acres by selling to for 700 crores. Now, we are also at this juncture constructing 3 million square feet under the affordable housing scheme between 1 BHK and 2 BHK. Now, we have been very fortunate that almost 60% of our launched inventory we have been able to sell and is sitting on a cash surplus. However, what we are intending to do is also significant amount of those cash flows we are going to take and expand this business of reality. In the likelihood, in the vicinity, in Thane on our own land, as well as in the MMR region. But we are going to use the cash flows generated, because in this particular project of 3.2 million square feet, we are expecting a revenue close to 3,500 crores and close to 900 crores of cash flow to be generated. So we are going to deploy that cash to run and make a very strong real estate business also as an arm for the group.
Right.
So that is the big investment which we are talking about.
Right. Now, coming down towards the last question, you're talking about how hyper customization is going to be one of the big things. People want more choice, and choice is what they will get. So, could you say what are some of the trends that you think will be more pronounced going forward? Maybe 2 or 3 trends that you predict will develop in a bigger way and will have more impact on retail business as we know it?
Yeah. So look, in terms of customization, it has been always the trend. If you see in London, the Savile Row continues to be a strong, the loyalty of the customers continues to be very, very strong. Similarly, in India, if I look at it, we again ourselves pride that we have got a tailor network of 4,000 tailors across the country, which is a very organized way. We are the only ones who could organize. And if you go to our store, we are the ones who have got specialized tailoring where they cater to the high-end, absolutely high-end quality customers, as well as in our Bangalore garmenting facilities, which is also doing a unique job. Now, in this made to measure, I think as the people start, the income levels continue to rise, people want personalization. When you talk about a personalization, you need to have very clear that your measurements, your initials, all that is going to happen, and people will start migrating to those kind of trends. And we have seen, and we knew this trend going to come, and that is why we launched made to measure.
Mhm.
Now we are going to make it more prominent because we have seen the success somewhere in the US that it is going to be there. The other big thing what we are also targeting is to have a software which a unique app model, so that through the app your measurements can be done through camera by sitting at home, and you can get your clothes stitched and delivered to you. So this is something which we believe is going to be a big opportunity. Second thing, in terms of the trends, people previously thought that a typical Western wear is the formal where you should get your stitched. But now more and more people are getting the Indian attire, the ethnics attire. So we see what we have also done is, and that's something unique about the way we are thinking. Our ethnic team goes out and works with weavers, let's say in Varanasi, weavers in or different type of products if you get from the artisans in Orissa and different parts of the country, which is absolutely sustainable in nature. It should not be at all moving into that it is a carbon and such things. So we are trying to get more and more natural. Maybe we are using jute, the natural fibers. So all that is coming into a big way
Right.
into the process and the manufacture of our fabrics, which are used for ethnic products. So there we see that again a big trend. You see,
Mhm.
people, a lot of customers are moving into that direction where you want to see a sustainability is a big quotient. And
Right.
we have launched, even on a larger scale, for some of our shirtings, we have launched certain products which are completely coming out of green cotton, so
Mhm.
that you are not incurring a carbon footprint and avoiding that carbon footprint. So this is
Right.
again a big trend which is emerging as we speak today.
Right. Customer consciousness and sustainability is now definitely in the vogue right now because of how we're looking at IPCC and the climate change report. So I think it would be a welcome move if it were to go into all verticals. So thank you so much for your time. I think that with that we taper to the end of this wonderful interview. Thank you so much for your patience and your wonderful answers. And I hope our readers took a lot away. I took a lot of notes, and I hope they did too. So thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you, Mr. Agarwal.